back to the Build of the World. This is a Burrows and Badgers conversion video. Yeah, why not? I wasn't going to do this, and I can't really do it because I can't get much of it on video because I've already kind of done it. But I've taken some steals and I've got some ideas and I've got some other bits and pieces, and I'm going to show you what I kind of did. Many of you will be aware that Mr. Michael Lovejoy of Oathsworn Miniatures recently produced this brilliant model of a bear, bloody big bear, really bloody big bear. Because look at this picture, there's a teeny little mouse having prey right next to it. It's ridiculously large, although. And does rather kind of smack of old school Games Workshop Citadel Miniatures Giants, which is kind of neat. I really like it as a model. Yeah, I see. I even chatted with Michael at Salute about it. So I'm not entirely convinced it's big enough, to be quite honest. Although I'm willing to backpedal on that a little bit because I kind of said to Mike that I think that my Newfoundlands, if they were kind of like anthropomorphised and fitted into the weird scale that B&B has, and you have to bear in mind that Burrows and Badgers comes with its own scale, because actually you can't really do it justice. If a mouse was actually the same scale as the badger, the mouse is either way too small, the badger figures aren't big enough. Either way, but I kind of like said to Michael that I thought that the bear wasn't big enough. The bear's about the size of a Newfoundland and what a Newfie should be. But then last weekend I was at a reenactment, Tudor reenactment with my reenactment group, the Suffolk Free Company, and one of the guys in the Suffolks is Canadian. And we were talking about Heidi, my wife, bought Ahsoka, a big black 71 kilo noof to the event on the Monday, and my mate Marcus said to me, actually, I've seen bears that big. So Mike Lovejoy, I take it back. All right, the bear's probably not a bad size, because if I thought that was about the right size for a noof, there are black bears, they're about the same size. Although European cave bears, I don't know how big they get. Anyway, my problem is with the bear model is that it's great. I got mine at Salute. Actually, I ended up getting two, one for me and one for little Ted. But then also in the Warbands Eluding group, Mike got one, and John got one, and Gary got one. So there must be at least 5, I think. But there's only 8 or 9 of us, which means we've all got the same bear. And much as I love having every model in the collection, I have got every single B&B figure, I think, apart from the odd mole coming out of a hole that were kind of like from Kickstarters. I've got them all. The problem is if we all put bears together, we're all going to have exactly the same model, and that didn't seem right. And we do fancy coming up with a couple of stupid scenarios with a lot of bears. So I decided that I was going to take my bear and do some converting with it, because actually, before anything else, it's a really nice 3-piece model. Check the picture out here, yeah? It's only 3 pieces, and it's resin, which means it's relatively easy to work with. So I wanted to do something to see what I could come up with. My first plan was to use some milliput and to like sculpt a mohawk onto it or something else and that kind of thing. But yeah, not too sure. My working with milliput and green stuff and that kind of thing, it's not so great. So I basically thought that I'd bin that idea, because the bear's head is great, but I thought what I would do is I'd go for some changes. Now, you can't change the head overly much. It's kind of like locked into position. Hello, Mr. Bear. Whoop, there he is. It's kind of like locked into position, and I can't show you more on that because I've already done some stuff to it. I decided to leave the bear's head where it was. But I thought I could change a few things. The obvious change would be a weapon swap on the arm that has got the club with the gravestone in it. And I thought that left hand closed like this is absolutely gagging for holding onto something. So I thought my first best instance, I thought I would be really wise to just go digging through the cack. Yes, I did. I went digging into the cack. Of course I did, and I did find a whole bunch of different things, and I went for a number of different weapon choices. What did I find? I found big swords. I found a Citadel plastic, there we go, giant weapon, which kind of like worked. It's a big club. I'd have to cut the giant's hand off down this end, but that'll be fine, because then these bits would stick out of the back of the hand of the bear. and this has got axe blades stuck in it already. I'm going to put some others in there because I'm pretty sure I'll chop some off. And I thought that might be quite cool. I did have a discussion with Ted about using a plastic cannon like this. I kind of fancy just having it swinging, not the whole cannon, but I was going to take the cannon barrel off and have him swinging a great big cannon end, because now cannons are a thing in B&B, because, you know, there's this cute little bombard, which Michael's also bought out recently. There it is. I like that a lot. Thank you very much. And he also has made a kind of like well, he's called it a falconet, but well, yeah, it's kind of not bad. I've changed the wheels on mine. I like this a lot more. Look, I didn't like the solid little wheels. Solid wheels are not really a thing. They aren't around for very long. We make wheels, we make it properly. So I made this one. So cannons are a thing, and I could have had a cannon barrel. That would have been quite cool. And then I kind of like settled on. Well, I settled on what I found when I was digging through it. I was digging through the cack, and imagine my joy when I found a fecking great big fish. Yep, that's right, you heard it, a great big fish. It comes from this. He says, pointing up in the air to kind of like picture a thing, hoping he can find an image of the thing he found, which was I've had for about 2 decades in this fish, because it was a Smeagol or Deagle. You could change the heads, or Gollum, and it's from Lord of the Rings. Actually, I think technically that must be from what? 2 Towers, and I used to see it on my desk at work, and yeah, 2 buttons, and you could do Smeagol's voice or Gollum's voice. It was kind of cool. But the fish, I lost the Smeagol thing, or sold it, or got rid of it ages ago. But I've had the fish kicking around. Smeagol used to hold it. So, frankly, I thought, what could be more appropriate than a bear armed with a fish? I mean, we've all seen those videos of brown bears and grizzly bears kind of like catching salmon. So I quite like the idea of him having caught salmon. I've got some other fish to use for B&B. I'm working on this. This is a bloody great big fish I got from Reaper. I think Reaper Miniatures is going to go on a base, go have water put all around it. This is going to be the great big huge fish that might appear in a Benfiot scenario at some point. And yeah, so I like the idea of my bear having a fish. I also love this sketch from Monty Python with the kind of like fish slapping competition. And nothing appeals to me more than the idea of a bear just walking through a whole host of little creatures like rabbits and weasels and mice and stuff, and just smacking them real hard with a fish. It'll be cool. So yeah, we did that. Next we did this. Okay, so it's a simple process to do this right hand. Here it is. It's literally a case of take a pair of clippers and then a knife to the axe hand, cut away the gravestone club, take it off the other end as well, and then a little bit of delicate scalpel work to cut in so I didn't lose any of the fingers. But then it was literally just a case of cut the tail off fish. Nice. Make sure that was going to fit. Super glue that in place. I didn't even have to pin it. And then cut out a tiny sliver. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Yeah, tiny sliver of fish, so it wasn't going to look wrong from a lengthwise. And then stick the fish, on the other hand, into onto the end of the hand there, so he's got a bloody great big fish club. And the other thing I've done is I've changed the angle of the dangle when it comes to where his arm's facing, which I'm going to get around. I've got to do a little bit of milliput work just to make that fit in, but that kind of works quite nicely. So he's in kind of mid-swing with it rather than just kind of like dragging it along, drooping it on the floor, which I quite like. So that was super simple to do. Then next up, left hand. And again, I toyed with a couple of ideas for left hand. I found a Playmobil sack, there it is, that was I didn't use in that shop build that I did the other week, and I thought, well, that might be quite good. He could be carrying that in his left hand, fishing his right hand, a bit like a shopping bag, I suppose. But then actually I thought, well, that could be quite good. I haven't done this yet. I'm going to get on with that in a minute. I might hang that from a belt. That would be quite cool. Then what else did I think of? Oh yeah, I kind of thought of other weapons, but then I came across something else, which is this, which is a gibbet from Iron Gate Scenery. Resin, printed 3D printed gibbet. It does have an entire. There's a base. There's a skeleton there. Oh, it's still in the bag. You can't really see those. Take my word for it. And there's the gallows that it hangs from around here somewhere. Here we are. Nice little cute resin model. One of those ones that I just kind of bought on speculation, really. And I thought that would be cool. That would be cool, hanging from the left hand, almost like a lantern. And I thought, oh, that'd be neat. And I got as far as getting one of the. I don't use the bats very much. I'm not into magic in B&B, and I don't use bats particularly. There are 3 or 4 bats now in the range, and bats, frankly, you've only got one purpose in Burrows and Badgers, which is be a magic user. So I took this one, which is kind of standing upright. And I decided that what I was going to do with him was I was going to stick him in the gibbet thus, so he could kind of like be carrying along and having a bat hanging in his hand in a kind of cage, having caught it, which again I still quite like. And the only problem with that is the fact that, you know what, the problem with that is it doesn't really go with the fish. I like the idea of the fish. And I like the idea of that kind of thing, and Bear's a fisherman, and yeah, so then I was toying around, and then it struck me that one of my other model conversions for Burrows and Badgers is this little fella. And I do know that Mr. Lovejoy has a particular soft spot for this little conversion, because it's just a totally pointless conversion. It's the Shrew Slave Master, comes with a Badger slave, and I've used that set 3 times. I've got 3 lots of that because I converted the other 2 of the Badgers into other models. So I've got 3 of these Slave Masters, and I turned one of these Slave Masters into a little angling shrew. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool? Is actually the bear, rather than wading around in the water and just smacking great big salmon, he was an angler as well. So I dived into one of my other boxes, one of my boxes for scenery stuff, and pulled out a whole bunch of straight sticks. I've got, if you remember, actually back to the Beaver Dam, the Beaver Dam Temple for Benfleet. What do you mean you haven't watched the Beaver Dam Temple for Benfleet? Go and bloody watch. Subscribe now, right? Like this video, and either get to the end of this video and go and watch the Beaver Dam Temple for Benfleet, or press pause on this one, go and watch that, and then come back in here and you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, if you remember watching that video, you remember I had some cheap as chips pound shop garden border kind of like a trim made up with loads of straight sticks. So I went and found myself a suitable one of those, and I made a fishing rod. I'd already taken my pin vise, he says, looking for his good old trusty pin vise, which would be on the desk in front of him, but he's, oh no, there it is, hold on to the crap. I take my pin vise with a chunky drill bit. You could probably do it with a Dremel, but I want to do it with lots of care. I drilled through the left hand of the bear, because I'd set up some chains in the top of my gibbet, and that was going to go through the bear's hands. It looked like I was going to be holding on to the gibbet with a chain. So I was already partly there with going for fishing rod. So what I've ended up doing is here we are now, cheeky fishing rod, check it out. The piece of wood actually is in 2 parts. It doesn't join in the middle because I was never going to get it all through the tiny hole in his hand. So I cut that in half. Or not in half. I've wire wrapped this end where the handle is. I've put 2 little loops, which I am going to thread. I know, yeah, I know. I'm going to thread fishing line on this down to here, and it might even end up with a reel. I've made a hook to go on the end. I don't know how I'm going to be able to hold that to be able to show you, but hang on, wait a minute. There it is, look, check that out. I made a little hook to go on the end of my fishing line. Shit, just dropped it. Fuck, dropped it. I might be back to it's a fucking bollocks. Right, I drop my freaking fishing hook. I'm gonna have to go look for it. I'll be back in a little while. Sometime later, right, I got my fishing hook, all good. So that's going to get strung on there, and now I'm working on a couple of other ideas for some other bits. I might put I've got a barrel. This is a TNT barrel actually from Mantic, from Terrain Crate. I kind of think I might hang that somehow on his back as well, so he's a bit more geared up. So he's been out for a day fishing. So I'm going to fiddle with that for a few minutes. Going to see if I can get that stuck on. I'm going to finish up the base. Then I'm going to undercoat him. I'm painting him maybe, but that might have to be another video, because this is just a little bit of a fun video that I thought I'd bang out. So hang on for a moment and let me finish it off, and I'll do the last bit, and then you can see it, and it'll be cool. And it's, if nothing else, I hope you're now inspired to pick up resin and a knife and go for it. Pretty expensive model to jump in though, from a first conversion point of view, but it is kind of cool. I'd love to see other people's conversions on the B&B group, see what else they could stick in his right hand for a start. Anyway, let me finish it off, and then I'll finish off talking to you lot back in a minute. Now, you know when things are just supposed to be, right? This is the first drawer of CAC that I opened up to go looking in. This is one of my semi-organised fantasy CAC drawers, and it's got all sorts of bits and pieces. There's lots of Mantic terrain crate stuff in here, like beds and various Victorian furniture and things, and bits for ale houses and things. And I've just spotted, this, right? Look, it's a sharpening wheel grindstone from Mantic terrain crate, and look at that. Look at the bloody look. It's got a fishing rod. It's got a fishing reel on the side of it. Well, it's not really, but it's and then what's even better is I found one that I haven't done anything with, which is absolutely dying. And so I've got one. I mean, how many whetstone grindstones do you need? Clearly, this is meant to be. First drawer dived into. How cool is that? This is the nuts. This idea is stupidly wonderful, and I'm really enjoying it. Yep, here we go. Fishing reel going on the side of the fishing rod. Bloody excellent. It's even got a handle sticking out the side, and then I could put a string in and I go down there. Now it's got to go on the fishing. It's got to go on. Do you hold your fishing rod in your left hand and wind it with your right? You would, wouldn't you? Or would you hold it in your right and wind it with your? Oh, bollocks to it. I don't know. What do I know about fishing? Absolutely nothing. Say it again. Oh, fishing. Oh. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Yeah, look, it could be a massive oversize. I'm going to chop this up and see what I can do with it. This is great. Right, well, from a realistic point of view, I have no idea. I think if you had a fishing rod, you'd righty like me would hold it in my left hand and wind with the right. Is that correct? But because I'm carrying this in my left hand, but Bear's carrying my left hand, and I want this to kind of like sit on the rod, I'm going to have to stick it on the left-hand side. So this is clearly a left-handed bear. I'm doing all that, you can't see a fucking thing, can you? Right, so look, here's the bear, and I'm going to stick the reel here, back here like that on that side, so it's really obvious on the model. That's what it is. So, yeah, clearly this bear must be a left-handed fisherman. But, yeah, it's neat. So, it's more super glue. It's just nuts. And then, yeah, underneath the bottom of like that, around the side. And God bless Gorilla Glue. Well, God bless it, really. Yeah. And then we're going to take me a little fishing rod, which I couldn't believe I found. A reel, stick that on my rod. Oh, mate, that is the absolute bee's knees. Look at that. Look. There it is. There's a fishing reel on the side of a fishing rod. Michael Lovejoy, I bloody hope you're liking this. I'm pretty sure that when you did this model, you weren't expecting that. But then, I reckon this guy, he could be a little angler. I reckon he should go out angling with his little shrew mate. In fact, what I think I ought to do is take the little shrew off his base and stick him on the base of with the bear. I don't think this bear is a bad bear at all. I think he's just a happy fisherman. Bear, beast thing. And supplies to the people of Benfleet with big fish. Like this one. Right, okay, that's cool. So, fishing reel on the fishing rod. He's got his barrel of drink and his bag for going out during the day on his fishing expedition. Oh, superb. Now, I bet most people, when they started watching this, they're thinking some kind of big-ass kind of weapon conversion, and teeth and all that kind of stuff. And what have I done? I've turned him into being Burrows and Badger's course fishing champion. I do like the idea of having some sharp little fangs sticking out the side of his gob. I wonder if I could use the end of cocktail sticks. Would that work? I've got some around somewhere. Nevertheless, this is bonkers. Right, got one more use of fishing line. I lost a bloody hook again. Ollie, here we go then. Look, check him out. Undercoated black. One big ass fish. Gone fishing. So now time for a paint job. When I've painted it, I'm then going to add a fishing line and the hook. It's 24 hours later. Oh, there's the hook over there. It's good I haven't lost the hook. So my desk is looking really messy because I covered it with sand whilst working on the piece of scenery I'm working on. But get some paints out, get some dry brushing, do some fur on this guy for starters. Pretty cool. Yeah, nuts. As we all know, painting is my favourite part of this hobby, but this is not going to be a massively overly complicated paint job, he says, although I bet it will end up being a massively overly complicated paint job. Let's see how it goes. It's fine to clear up my desk a little bit and find some paints. Alright, we're making progress. Got Brown, done some dry brushing, check him out. Bit of metal. Fishing rod, big fish. Fishing rod, big fish. Fishing rod, big fish. More paintings come tomorrow. Getting there. Fortunately, it's an Oathsworn figure. It's a flipping big Oathsworn figure. So most of the parts are fairly large. So I'm not expecting this to take too long to paint. Kind of midway point, check him out. We've got kind of colour on legs and stuff, and yeah, it's kind of coming on. Need to do some highlighting. Red barrel, of course, for Watney's red barrel. Could have taken that off a delivery of a lorry somewhere. Got to paint fish. Got more details to do. It's coming on. I do like painting Oathsworn figures. They're so clean. And of course, this one's bloody enormous. So even my rudimentary painting skills are going to look alright, I think. Hurrah! Keep going. Mwah. Alrighty, here he is then. This is my finished bear. Rather pleased with that. I'll tell you what, let's find a bit of cardboard to stick behind him. There is my finished bear. Kind of pleased with this guy. I'll put him on the Lazy Susan in a minute. You can have kind of like the nice shots, but yeah, well chuffed with this for a number of reasons. I think more than anything else, the idea actually came out of just digging through the cack. It kind of spawned and grew, and the fish first, and then the fishing rod, and then he's kind of like packed lunch, all kind of like grew out of nowhere. So it's great. I'm happy. I really like the way I've twisted this arm. This arm over here, I really think it looks like now he could have just been dragging the fish along on the floor, which would have been more difficult to do, but I like the fact that he's kind of like in action. He's about to belt a beaver with his great big salmon. The fishing rod worked out real nice, considering the kind of cute little hook on the end. Yeah, I am dead chuffed with this. I was worried that we were going to have a bajillion, well, 5 at least, bears all looking the same. Certainly my one is going to look different. So here is my challenge to... So here is my challenge to you in the Burrows and Badgers community. Come on, fess up. Who bought one of these bears at Salute or since Oathsworn Miniatures? It's only been 2 or 3 weeks since Salute, but you know, I want to see your bears. Put them on the Facebook group, on the B&B Facebook group, or the Warbands of Lunan group, or comment on my Magathea Builder of Worlds page on the post that I started posting this stuff on. Show me your bears. I don't care if they're not all converted. Let's see the painted ones. It's a lovely, lovely model. It's really grown on me, actually, this model. I kind of like, yeah, I think it's cool. So I'd like to see some other conversions. I hope you've now feel, if nothing else, courageous enough to take your knives and milliput and your cutters to a really nice 35 quid resin model and chop it up a little bit and do your own additions, because it's quite cool. I reckon there are some really creative people out there. They certainly are in the B&B world, so let's see what you can do. So yeah, that's my Magrathea challenge to you people. Let's see who can come up with the best Oathsworn bear conversion. Now, this wasn't going to be a video. It's become a bit of a cheeky little bonus video, really. I was only going to take photographs and stick them up on Facebook. I hadn't intended to make a video out of this at all, because of course I was busy making this. Actually, the first part of my latest Patreon build, but I kind of got sidetracked because I thought I'd give it a crack. And also there is precedent, of course, because I think I made a video for making this guy my beaver priest, with the little conversion on him with the helmet and the trident and everything else. So yeah, this dude I'm rather pleased with. So I hope you've enjoyed this extra bonus Magrathea Builder of Worlds video. If you have, please leave comments down below. If you think I bottled it and I should have done something else with my conversion, then also leave comments down below as well. And if you want to see other content like this, of course, you need to click subscribe. Yeah, you know what to do, for God's sake. It's kind of like, yeah, it's like YouTube. It's what you do on YouTube. And of course, if you'd like to add more support to me so I could carry on making daft videos like this, then please do feel free to join my Patreon at patreon.com/Magrathea Builder Worlds. Not that I'm going to convert a model like that for you, although I could. I mean, that might be quite a cool thing to do. My main job is building scenery, and if you want a free piece of Magrathea scenery, then that's what you need to do. Go join my Patreon. Aside from that, I don't know which order it's coming out in. I think I'm probably going to put the bear up before I put up the building. But if I put it the other way around, make sure you watch that and carry on watching. Thank you very much for watching Magrathea Builder of Worlds. Again, I will see you again very, very soon. Nice one, guys. See you later. Ooh, bear gone fishing. Okay, I'll do the saucy bit now on the Lazy Susan with the spinny roundy round. It'll be cool. Check this out.